that ridge left of the summit. That's Mauna Loa's northeast rift. So think of it like a crack right down the side of the volcano that keeps splitting open, the weak spot. There's actually two rifts on Mauna Loa. This is the northeast rift, and there's another one on the south side we can't see right now. And Kilauea's eruption, the one we're going to go see, well, its most recent eruption anyway, it had been erupting down on the side and created a new pu'u, but that eruption happened on Kilauea's east rift. Some old lava flows here. The smooth lava is called Pahoehoe. The crunchy lava is called A'a, both of which are made from the same material. It's all basalt. The difference is the temperature kind of just before it came to a stop. If it was extra hot, it's more smooth. We get the Pahoehoe. But if it's kind of cooled down a little, it gets real clumpy, chunky. The tents on the left. This is the protest camp. Have you heard about this? Yeah. They don't want a telescope up on Mauna Kea, so they're up here kind of blocking the road saying, nope, you can't build it. We'll see where that goes. I don't know what's going to happen. Kind of crazy. I mean, at first thought, it's like, wait a minute, they're protesting a telescope? That's kind of silly. But, you know, you have to hear out their reason behind it, and there's more to it. You know, it's, of course, more complicated than it sounds, but I don't know. I try to stay right in the middle on that one. I was like, I'm going to stay out of this. It's not my deal. Either we'll get a telescope or we won't. Halfway up the hill on the right, uphill from Sean over there, you see that white, little white dome? That's a Mars dome. A bunch of people have been living inside that thing, practicing what it might be like to live on Mars. They've had, I think, 5 groups already go through it, anywhere from 4 months to 8 months at a time. Pretty crazy. They treat it as real as they can, too. Like, they're serious about it. It's funded by NASA. Then way up at the summit, there's more white buildings, and that's the Mauna Loa Solar Observatory. So they use that location to look at the sun all day. Ooh, and surprisingly, if you look left, you can see underneath the clouds all the way to Hilo, largest city on the island, way down there. It's a pretty rare sight. That's why I say surprisingly, because, well, Hilo is the #1, first of all, largest city on the island, but more importantly, claim to fame, Hilo is the rainiest city in the entire United States. Which also means you almost never can see it from here because it's covered in clouds and rain. And there are clouds, of course, but it's better than average weather, is what I'm saying. Keep an eye out for holes in the ground. We're going to see some coming by here. And what you'll notice, a lot of times the holes will be lined up in kind of a row up and down the hill. These are holes in top of old lava tubes. The lava tubes are pretty interesting. You know, eruption happens, lava comes out, starts going down the slope. In the beginning, it's exactly what to think, lava flowing on the surface. But it doesn't tend to stay that way very long because it cools down very rapidly. It's exposed to the air, it's going across cold ground. Thing is, when it cools down, it cools from the outside in, creating its own crust. And that's the beginning of a lava tube. Which then, the crust insulates the rest of the lava that continues to flow within, and now it can go further. And then the process repeats. So with time, these tubes get longer and longer, and given enough time, sometimes they'll go all the way to the ocean. I could not stop, but you now know, singing, come out upon my seas, curse me, stop. Opportunities, am I a part of the cure, or am I part of the disease, singing you? extra dark lava we're about to cross? 1984. This is the most recent lava from Mauna Loa. This 3-week-long eruption was headed straight down the slope towards Hilo, and it got real close. Well, within 3 or 4 miles anyway. People were getting pretty worried. Luckily it stopped. There's another band of it right here, this darkest stuff. Also a fence here. This is the boundary for Volcanoes National Park, which also means we're getting pretty close to Kilauea. So Mauna Loa on our right side, and then Kilauea is actually straight in front of us. It's the shortest volcano on the island. It's coming up, summit is just becoming visible right now. You can see a little bit of smoke coming up. That's coming out of the caldera. So for a long time, nobody realized Kilauea volcano was an independent volcano. Originally, everybody thought Mauna Loa just must be erupting from the side a lot over here. It's kind of what it looks like. It wasn't until somebody discovered, well, hang on a minute, there's a separate magma chamber and a separate plumbing system. Hey, that means it's a different volcano. It's just younger, it hasn't grown as tall. It's growing up out of the side of Mauna Loa. Still smoke coming out of the ground. Even though the eruption stopped last year, it's still a very active volcano. You know, we'll get up here, it's a real possibility we'll be able to smell the sulfur gas a little bit. So the history of the most recent eruption, it began in 1983, January 3rd, 1983. It started way down on the side of the volcano, not up here at the summit. For the first 25 years, the only place we had any activity at all was at the original eruption site down on the side, on the eastern rift. In 2008, March 19th, 2008, a hole in the bottom of the caldera burst open, and smoke started billowing out. And really that was kind of all that happened. The eruption continued down on the side, smoke was coming out the top, but eventually lava started coming up into the caldera, into the hole at the bottom. It never came out at the top, but it was coming up into the hole for a while. Towards the end of the eruption, sometimes you could drive out here and see at night an orange glow in the caldera, and maybe if you got really lucky, the lava would come up just high enough you could just see it. Now, there was one final major change to the eruption at the very end, the final 6 months. So, spring 2018. The original eruption site kind of clogged up more or less. It